Ladies and gentlemen, friends, thanks for joining us on Down to Chat. As you know, I'm Garrett Perkins, Chief Revenue Officer at Givington's. Today, I'm with my friend Amanda. Man, this is a long rap sheet for my friend Amanda. Amanda is a four-time CMO. She's a two-time founder. She is hopefully going to be a best-selling author. She's releasing her new book that's right behind you on my left, her right there, Toxic Grit. How to have it all and actually love it. She has a newsletter called Life's a Game that has over 80,000 subscribers. She has gone from startup culture to building businesses to launching businesses to now an author. And then wrapped in all that, she is also a mom of three lovely children as well. So Amanda, you are a busy girl, but the fact that you take some time to hang out with us means a ton. So thanks so much for joining us today on Down to Chat.
No, I love this. I'm so excited for this chat.
Amanda, real fast, why don't you give us a little bit of your journey? A little bit, where are you from? Where did you get your start?
Yeah, so I'm a first generation college grad. I grew up on a farm in central Illinois. My dad's the town plumber. My mom's a stay-at-home mom, and I went to college in the Midwest and got my first job. I graduated early because I was paying for college myself, so I was like, "Get me out of here."
Hmm.
And went to Ernst and Young, did marketing at Ernst and Young for
Yeah.
a few years, and then moved from Chicago to New York City, where I was like, this is kind of when Devil Wears Prada came out, and I was like, I want to work at a magazine. I want to do something like shiny, and ended up getting a job for a celebrity wedding planner where I managed his brand. He had a reality TV show, licensing deals, and then
Yeah.
I planned celebrity weddings. And from there, I met my co-founder of my first startup in some nonprofit work in New York City and launched my first startup, which was a tech startup for the wedding industry. Did an accelerator, learned how to build businesses through this startup leadership program accelerator. And then that took me to the Knot, where I led brand and product marketing for over 5 years and built up the whole consumer facing arm because that was when I came in right as they brought in a CEO from Google, and it was really changing from a traditional media company to a two-sided marketplace. When COVID hit, I realized I wanted to kind of keep extending my mission of empowering women to create space for themselves in their lives. So I launched my CPG startup, which was House of Wise, which was originally formulated CBD products for women, um, and raised over $2 million of VC capital,
Oh,
sold
cool.
that in 2022. And then I was kind of like, well, I don't know. What do I do
Like I
now?
did it. I'm done. I'm done.
Not really.
No,
To
of
be
course
very
not.
clear, it was an equity deal. It was not a liquidity event. Just, I like to
Okay.
be very transparent about that.
Yeah. Come on.
People are like, why didn't you just like sail off into the sunset? And I was like, because I was paying myself less than 100K as a startup founder,
Yeah.
and I needed insurance. So
Oh yeah.
I was really trying to figure out what was next, and I took kind of just like a head of marketing role somewhere that was kind of like pay the bills, drive the speed limit in my career while I figured
Yeah.
out what was next. And I started writing, and I started a newsletter just to share things I had learned about building a life, building a career while I have three kids. As you said, I got a divorce during COVID. So I started writing about all of that, and that started to take off. And I was like, oh, wait, I really love writing. And I think,
Cool.
yeah, I think when you've done something so singular your whole life as like marketing, you kind of think like, well, that's all I can do. And then I started writing. I was like, wait, maybe I could be an author. And I went and I wrote a proposal and I got a book deal. And so that's happening right now.
Yeah. Here we are.
And here we are.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it is fascinating to watch. While your story is unique, there's pieces of it that are very, very consistent with high-powered leaders, executives, people that are builders in general. They find themselves, man, I really do like writing because, especially individuals that are connected with marketing. Amanda, there are a lot of people that we talk with at Givington's where we're helping. We call them content brands. People, individuals, entities. That can be a nonprofit, a direct consumer CPG brand. It can be a lot of a content brand is really any brand that their product or their main thing is ideas, thoughts,
Yeah.
leadership, whatever, where that content is actually the gold that makes them gold. And they leverage that content in a lot of different mediums, whether that be e-courses, whether that be physical product, whether that be digital product, whether that be Substacks, whether that be books, journals, whatever it looks like. And I think you see this obviously because we would define you as one. When you go to Amanda's website, you see a lot of different things that she is leveraging her life experience, her leadership, and her ideas to help make change in the world. Amanda, how would you, as you look at just the content industry as a whole, how would you help someone that maybe has a smaller following and they want to expand that audience? What would you encourage them to do? How would you instruct them? Let's say you're coaching Garrett right now on it. We're in our one-on-one coaching session. Like, man, I need to grow. I need to grow. I need to grow my content brand. What do I do?
Yeah. So the first sentence you said was, I need to grow my audience. If we were sitting down, I'd say I would challenge the notion of chasing followers for followers' sake.
Yes, keep going. We're going to agree, but keep going. I love this.
I look at all the things you just said as a 5C portfolio. You start with content. What are your ideas? How are you connecting with people at kind of, let's call it the top of the funnel, right? In social media, people are cold, they may not know about you. So content is social media content. It's earned and owned. How you getting on other people's podcasts and talking about your ideas. This is where people discover you and you learn. Then you move into potentially courses, right? The second C. You've learned that there's a pain point that just keeps coming up, and you're getting really keen on what your special sauce, like how it can serve a group of people. I say this often, like all content is chicken. The real thing is figuring out what your flavors and spices are to
Yep,
make
that's
an
good.
original dish. And when you think about it, there's certain chicken dishes you don't like, and there's certain chicken dishes you love.
Yeah,
And it doesn't matter. There are many look how many chicken sandwiches there are. And people are like die hard Popeyes, Chick-fil-A. Like it's all about finding the people who like your recipe. That's all it's about, right? So that's why I challenge the idea of having a massive following. It's just find the people who like your recipe, right?
amen. Yeah.
So for me, I talk about productivity. I'm a mom of 3 plus building, a 7-figure business. And the people who follow me resonate with how I talk about this. And the people who like the 5 a.m. ice bath people, they go to them. And that's
You're
okay.
not doing that 5 a.m. ice bath?
No,
No,
I'm not.
because you're cleaning up throw up at 5 a.m. probably
Right.
every once in uh-huh.
Right.
Yep.
Someone peed the bed. Okay, so courses. You've learned stuff, you're building kind of your recipe. Then the courses can move to potentially community. It's kind of like a do it yourself courses. Now do it with me. You want
Hmm.
more in-depth conversations with me. You want more closer, maybe in parallel working together with a group. I have a community of 168 people, and they are building portfolio careers
Yeah,
while juggling being ambitious working parents together. 168, not a huge number, but it's a 5-figure recurring revenue stream
that's exactly right.
that pays my mortgage. Great. Okay. So now we move to some people who love you in the community want to work one-on-one with you. So now you've moved into coaching, your highest ticket. That could be one-on-one. It could be a group coaching. You could start to create group coaching programs that are high ticket. Okay, now someone might pay you $1,000 a month to, sit with you and create a very personalized plan. And then the last one is consulting. And I want to remove this notion that it's binary. You're either a creator or you work for someone. I love the idea of why not both.
Yeah.
So I shared with you before we got started. So I built a 50K MRR business with those first 4.
Yep.
And over the past 2 years, got that to be as efficient as humanly possible. So now when a full-time CMO position came across my desk that I was like, holy crap, this would be so fun.
Yeah.
I could take it and now have a 600K business that takes, 15 to 20 hours a month to run.
Yep.
And now I can go build a cool company and
Hmm.
be challenged in a new way. So the 5 C's are how I think about this portfolio career.
It's
And
very
as
good.
you move through each one, it should be feeding the ones before it. When you're working one on one in a coaching session, every single time I get out of a coaching session, I'll write down 3 things that go into my social calendar.
Great. Yeah. Yep.
So they all connect.
Well, yeah, and yeah, not only do they connect, but they also like as you drive those individuals down the funnel, those people that you are doing community with, right? They're doing do it with me people and the do it with me and only me on that coaching. Guess what? Those are your raving fans that are actually that's also your sales force, right? Those people are going, you got to do this thing.
And here's
That's more powerful than a digital ad all day long.
And the mistake I see a lot of people make is they try to give the entire menu. They're like the Cheesecake Factory on social.
Yeah.
So I always think about what is the one thing I want them to do at this stage.
Yep.
You're trying to sell coaching on social media. No one knows who you are. They have no relationship. You are wasting energy.
You haven't earned the right. You haven't earned the right with them. You
So
barely have
just
their eyeballs. Yes.
Right. Just get them to the next thing where they can build that trust and relationship with you. Like
Hmm.
you are an omakase, not Cheesecake Factory.
Yep. Yep. That's it. Yeah, exactly right. I love the way you said that. Seth Godin talks about the smallest viable audience. And
Mhm.
we just believe that through and through. And I mean, you are a walking definition of that when you're walking through that funnel and when you get to your community and go, hey, it's not even 200 people, but those 200 people have created a healthy living for you to also now create this business. You call it your portfolio business. Really what it is, that's an asset that now that can run outside of your time as well.
Mhm.
So now you've just maximized your time to be able to go, now I can trade my time for a salaried position and still have this asset over here that is working for me. That's really, really smart for someone like you who continues to, and I love the way you phrased it, of it's not binary. It's not either or. I mean, it comes back to your book, Toxic Grit, right? Building something that you can do and actually love, right? And I think you can have your cake and eat it too, no pun intended on that cheesecake reference.
Optionality. Like optionality is so powerful. Like
Hmm.
to know that I don't need a full-time job when something came across my desk that I was like really pumped about and I
Yeah.
know it's going to grow me, I'm like, let's go. It's a scary position when you work full-time for someone and you can't leave. And it's
Hmm.
also a scary position when your entire personal brand or your entire income is tied to your social media
You're a
engagement.
slave to it. Well, you're just a slave to I got to make more. I got to make more. You got to feed the beast, right?
Yeah, so optionality is my whole name of my game.
Yeah, I love that. To encourage you as well. I think you operate in a not a scarcity mindset as well. You operate in an abundance mindset. Like there's plenty out there. Like there's plenty out there. I just need to get my group, right? And what you described, like, hey, here's my niche. You went really far down of like, I'm a mom, I'm a professional that talks about balance and health. And like you've like niched down to a really small
Yeah.
audience where a lot of people go, oh gosh, I got to keep it broad. I got to keep it broad instead of going like just talk about and teach on and equip in your life experience that you are, which means you're an expert in that,
Yeah.
right? So I just so appreciate how you've navigated that. At Givingtons, what we do best is that we help content brands create and move product directly to who matters the most. And that
Mm.
phrase is important for us because the who matters the most is your direct audience, the people that you know their names, you have their email addresses. When we say growth, I'm so glad you like said, hey, I want to challenge growth. When we
Mhm.
say growth, we don't mean growth top of funnel. I
Yeah.
could not care less about your followers. When we
Yeah.
help people do this and we do our walking through the brand blueprint and content strategy, it's all about how are you building that audience and growing that audience, meaning not followers, couldn't care less about it, meaning those people that love you enough to open up their checkbook, and that just aged me because I said checkbook, and actually write a check and hand it to you. Say, I'll pay you more than anybody else. So how have you done that? How have you moved people down that and done it well?
I used this analogy a few times before, and I think it's applicable here. So there are 3 kind of buckets of creators. There is the lighthouse, the people who feel really far away and they're like a guiding light and they're like very aspirational, right? Then there's the flashlight. The flashlight is the person who shines a light on resources and people. They do teardowns. They're giving you like breakdowns of how this person grew to this, like they're very great resources. But a flashlight, if you think of a really dark room and there's a flashlight on, you can only see where the flashlight's pointing. You don't really know much about the person holding the flashlight, right?
Hmm.
The third category is what I call a porch light. A porch light is you turn on a porch light and you say, "Come on up. Let's sit and talk about this. Like I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to open this home up to you. Let's sit, let's have some iced tea and like let's talk about it."
Hmm.
When I think about finding those people that you're talking about, those high impact customers, I'm talking about being a porch light. You are showing them that you care and you want to hear from them. And so I'll give like a very clear example with House of Wise. So House of Wise, because it was a CBD company, we couldn't use paid media. So
Yep.
we had to get really creative. When we launched it, we actually went out and we found 400 women who were struggling during the pandemic and they were talking about it online where they were like, "I want to stop drinking as much. Like I am really stretched thin." And I brought them in to what I call our like kind of wise women cohort.
Yep.
They were in a Slack channel and every month I did a town hall with them. This is months before we launched.
Yep.
And I was like, let's just talk. I want to understand what's going on, like what you need. And that like that led to us building sleep, sex, stress, and strength are kind of were the four
Yep.
categories,
Oh, the pillars. Yeah.
the pillars. And they were the pillars of the product, but also the pillars of the content. And we
Good.
hired an in-house sex therapist, an in-house sleep doctor. And we launched on launch day, and all 400 women posted about the product because they had seen it. They had been a part of it. They got to pick the packaging.
Yep.
And some people were like, this feels like direct sale. No, it's not direct sales. There's no pyramid. There's no like, hey, recruit other people. It was literally an affiliate program on steroids.
Yeah.
And this is when commerce and community line up perfectly.
Yeah.
You do that by having a two-way conversation, not just a one-way. And
Yeah.
that
Transactional. That's so good because I think so many people will focus group for the sake of something transactional to get this group to eventually buy their
yeah,
stuff. Not actually valuing the
yeah,
human on the other side of it. Going, man, we're humble enough to know we think there's something here, but you know from your experience and from your angle, every mom has a different angle. Every corporate leader has a different angle, has it right? The different seasoning to that chicken, as you describe it,
yeah,
and
for
therefore
sure.
you want that so that you can make sure you reach that larger audience within that subset. So I mean, and there's a human element to it where people sniff it out real quickly when it's transactional versus relational.
Yeah,
That where it's hey, yeah, join this group and then sign up and pay, and right, there's so much lack of authenticity of one, what you're actually after, and two, just actually seeing the human on the other side of that. So I so appreciate that you said that because we see that all the time with come join this group, and people immediately
yeah,
feel like I'm giving my opinions on stuff and now I'm having to pay for it or whatever that looks like. So that's
yeah.
so good that you guys saw that and navigated that really, really well. Amanda, what how do you see a book fitting into the larger portfolio business of you or your brand in general? Why a book? Why now a book? And how does it fit for you?
Sometimes you don't know where something is going, but you write the next sentence and then you write another sentence and then you write another sentence and all of a sudden that leads to something. So look, I could sit here and be like, well, I had this strategy that was, but honestly, I started writing something that was really, 10 years on my heart of things that I wanted to communicate that I felt like social media lacks context and nuance and depth. The newsletter got me further, and I'm like, I want to go further. And I look at a lot of my career as means to an end, not an end. And what I mean by that is, many authors, and I've met now a ton of authors
Yeah.
that they're like, I am going to be a New York Times bestselling author, right? My lily pad is, how can I impact more people?
Hmm.
How can I share these things and maybe have a little broader impact? Maybe this next lily pad has a bigger ripple effect. And writing the newsletter led to getting a book deal. And then that led to I'm going to be the host of a podcast that launches in October, where I can now have conversations with other people that are way bigger than me that share this message, and I can impact now more people.
Yeah.
So I just keep thinking about, I'm on this pond and I'm going to jump to the next lily pad, and maybe that one has a bigger ripple effect. And then the
Yeah.
next one, I don't know how many jumps it's going to take to get to, but to me, this is not about an end destination. I just keep trusting the next jump.
Yeah. Well, means and end is a great analogy with that. I think the publishing industry as a whole, that's the gap. I think the publishing industry as a whole sees the book as the ends instead of the book as the means to the end. What's valuable about that yellow book behind you is not the book block and the dust jacket and the pages and the materials of it. What's valuable about that is the change that it makes in people and the ideas in it. Guess what? It can be in book form, it can be in e-course form, it can be in blog form, it can be in speaker form, it can be in a lot of different avenues. So therefore, the value is not the medium. The value is the content. I
Mhm.
think what you're describing is seeing the book for what it is, a product that has value, and but also you're recognizing as like, hey, this is less about the book itself and more about what comes after it. And I think the people that actually
Yeah.
have the longest careers, especially in the nonfiction space, as authors, are those that don't chase short-term gains, meaning a New York Times list or a Publisher Weekly list or a USA Today list or whatever it is. Like those accolades are awesome, and if Amanda, you hit
Yeah.
it, that's amazing. But the reality is that's not stopping you from where you're wanting to go, which is more impact for more people in that small subset. Like how does Amanda go from 200 to 300, or from 300 to 500, from 500 to 1,000 of people that trust Amanda more than anybody else? And that's the value of building a community that is loyal and sticks with you through all the changing times of technology and everything
Mhm.
else. Because the reality is, if you live on that top of funnel, which clearly you don't, if you don't keep feeding that beast,
Mhm.
someone else will snag that eyeball, right? And that's an exhausting hamster wheel that everybody burns out on. And it's not healthy. There's no balance there.
No, no. I really am my whole goal right now is, how can I get as little time on social media as
Yeah.
possible and more time. I would rather be in the DMs talking to people.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
big, I'm big on audio notes. Like when
Yeah.
like somebody will be like, I've been following you for 10 years, and da, 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 and if I'm driving and I'm like going to pick up my kids, I'll be like, da, 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 like, so great to meet you. And like, that's what lights me up. It's like, can I
Hmm.
actually connect with the human that's on the other side? Because that's what it is. It's actually a human. I don't care about these like superficial numbers. Like, look, I have over, I don't know, 115,000, I don't know, something on Twitter, right? Because that's where I started, because I like to write
Yeah.
more than video. And those numbers are worth nothing now on that.
Yeah. Nothing.
Nothing. I could literally tweet, and I'm tweeting into like the void.
Yep.
However, people who were following me on that journey of growing there and getting to know me and the words I shared there are now like sending me messages on, LinkedIn, being like, first connected with you on Twitter and like
Yep.
can't wait for your book. And it's like, okay, it's about the connection and being like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, didn't you move? Like trying to
Oh, wow.
remember people.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think I've heard it said, especially, and you naturally worked the way that we would espouse to as it being best, but also I've heard it described really well. Someone asked a friend of ours. I said, "Hey, how did you know when to write this book? How do you know?" She's a prolific author, been writing for 20 years in the nonfiction space. Like, how do you know what the next book is? How do you know what the right next book is? She's like, the problem in the publishing industry is people they start with the book and come up with the book idea. Books are hard to make. They're a long time. It takes years, effort, energy. It's exhausting. So don't start there. She's like, how do I know what the next book is? How I know it's going to work? Because I start with a tweet. And if it gets a lot of traction, I move it to a blog post. Now, this was 20 years ago. And then if that gets more traction, I move it to a podcast episode. And if that gets more traction, then I make it a book. The book is the last stop on the train,
That's
not the
interesting.
first stop on the train. And so many people get that backwards, which is why you see so many books getting released that don't resonate because people, one, don't know their audience, their smallest viable audience, and two, they're just swinging at air instead of actually learning from their people. It's what you guys did on that Slack channel at House of Wise of going, hey, let's learn before we make. As we make, we learn along the process before we release something that actually we know will work well. We just believe that's a great model, and that's what you were doing on Twitter, and then moved to this newsletter and knew that, man, toxic grit is what people are going to want to hear, and really not the title, the stuff in here, because
Yeah.
this is what is on my newsletter, right? It's me at the end of the day. So I love that you just have naturally fallen into kind of the process of what we believe content brands should look at doing, because that's the content brands that last, not the people that are going, well, I want to be the next Mr. Beast or the next whatever it is. That's people that are, one, greedy, two, don't know how much money and time and effort it takes to do that, and three, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, Amanda, last question for you. One, this has been awesome. What's next? I mean, you have the book. The book's coming out in October,
Yeah.
right? Releases in October. So, we're giving it as a certified retailer. So we'll be marketing or promoting that book on our direct consumer store. But what is next after the book gets released? What's next for you?
Well, first I'll take a spin cycle, which I talk about in my book.
Yeah.
You alleviate all the heaviness that has built up.
Yep.
So I'll take a spin cycle. I'll enjoy the holidays with my kids and get married in February.
Congratulations, by the way.
You. And then what's next is going to be the next lily pad. I am already, working on book two because
Cool.
again, know the audience and kind
Yep.
of see very clearly how book one will lead. And, books are 3-year processes.
Oh
So
yeah.
I written the proposal for book two, and that will kind of continue this cycle of just continuing the mission of supporting people and taking up space in their lives for all their wholeness of a human. I just took on a CMO role, so I'll be launching that brand next year. And
Congratulations as well. Awesome.
thank you. And yeah, and hopefully more speaking engagements. I think that that's the new frontier that I am
Okay.
the least expert about in terms of how to continue to break into it. But I'm starting to now put that, like, literally I put little like notes, and it's like, okay, I'm a CMO author speaker next year. What
There you
does
go.
that look like?
Yeah.
And how do I prioritize that, and how do I start to like add that as a new kind of vertical under that 5 point
Oh yeah.
portfolio?
Yeah. No, I love that. And it'll naturally come. That's what's great about the medium of books, is it's a wonderful business card to step into that profit center of speaking engagements in large form, which again just
Yeah.
moves people down that funnel into other areas of that content brand. So Amanda, you're brilliant. I think the way you're building it is awesome. Clearly, you have built a very, very healthy, wonderful, balanced career. But what we at Givington's appreciate about you is this balance of ambition, deep, strong, passionate ambition to go, 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 but blended with this wonderful authenticity. Ambition and authenticity, I think, are the two pillars that we notice from afar watching Amanda. So, Amanda, thank you for spending time with us on Down to Chat. We really do appreciate it. Good luck with the book, and everybody watching, make sure you pick up a copy of Toxic Grid at any one of the retailers out there, but more importantly, come shop with us at Givington. So,
Yeah.
Amanda, thanks for coming. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Garrett.